Hello there, welcome to my living room. And I'm really sorry I haven't been here for so long. It's because I've moved house and there was Christmas and I've got a chronic illness. So that actually kind of gives me a massive excuse. But I'm back and it's fine. We're going to do this way more regularly. And at least I've got loads to talk about now. Not that I don't normally, because I do talk quite a lot. Anyway, welcome back. I'm Oliver George. This is Sick With Sarcasm. Roll the dad playing the violin. Hit it. Amazing. I'm back. You're back. We're all back. It's time for a chat. I'm wearing a sweater vest because sweater vests are my new favorite thing. Anyway, let's talk Christmas recovery because I think, I don't know about you, but I am sort of just about now as I get to the mid-February point, almost recovered. But this year, I think I know why. I know why it all went wrong, which is the first time since I've been chronically ill that I've been like, oh, I get it. Yeah. And I don't know if it's true, but it feels kind of true. It has some sense to it. This MCAS thing, right? This histamine thing, this eating loads of things, naughty things. Well, they're not naughty, they're just normal. But to me, to us, to you, to me, to you, Chuckle Brothers, Chuckle Vision, for anyone who doesn't know. Okay. Paul, no. Okay, I'll stop. At Christmas, I just let my inner child, which means inner fat child, out completely. I forget all the rules and all the adulting and all the calorie counting and all of that stuff. And I just go crazy. And I pretty much, so say you're awake for 12 hours a day, I'm eating for 10 of those at Christmas. And I'm eating anything I like. And I did that for 2-3 weeks. And I've paid the price dramatically. Obviously, it's also a busy time, stressful time, busy, fast paced, very different to how a chronic illness life should probably be led in terms of keeping things calm, staying close up, yada, 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 yada. And so still paying the price. And that's fine. But I think I'm just out of it because I've been back on my low histamine diet now for almost 4 weeks. And it's normally about after a month that I start noticing things calming down a bit. Yeah. Could also be the LDN, but I feel like it was probably histamine because I was taking LDN throughout the entire time and that didn't stop it. You know what it's like. One thing balances the other thing. And you've got to do about 30 different things for it to actually have an effect. And yeah, and who knows what 30 things you have to do, but blah, blah, blah. What a nightmare. Anyway, moving on. What else have I been up to? It was my birthday. It was my 30th birthday at the weekend, just gone. Sunday, the 8th of February. 30. Me. Crazy. It's fine. I'm like, some people panic. Some people are like, oh my God, I'm 30 and I'm not here in life. And I don't know, it's probably because I've got chronic illness, but I've sort of accepted the fact that I'm not where I want to be in life, and that's fine. And society can go away because society doesn't understand chronic illness anyway. But even if I didn't have a chronic illness, I don't know if I'd be that bothered because I've never been one for societal pressures. Just sort of do my own thing, and it will be my way or the highway, as they say. I do think that chronic illness has helped. God, chronic illness helping? Yeah, I think it's helped not get drawn into worrying about things because like my life's been on pause for 6-7 years. 7 years, God, that's scary. And so what am I meant to do? So I'm still 23. So happy 23rd to me. No societal pressures. We don't care about age. Things will happen when they happen. And now I have a chronic illness and I'll do everything I wanted to do in those 7 years slightly differently, slightly more slowly, slightly more controlled, but not in a controlling way, but like in a careful, clever way. A clever way. I did the zip wire. The zip wire is crazy. To be honest, I have this weird thing, and it might be the ADHD, the old addiction to dopamine. But like throughout my chronic illness time, whenever I have an event like that just sends my adrenaline and my dopamine through the roof, everything else gets ignored. Like everything else just it's like an override. Like I can press the button, I override. I do pay for it like a couple days later, but in the moment, It overrides everything, and the dopamine wins on everything, which is why I do these things, because dopamine beats chronic illness for me, not for everyone. Wouldn't advise it for everyone, because the next person that might do it, the chronic illness might go backwards for months, months, months. But me, I loved it, and I felt alive, and I paid the price a couple of days later. But because of my histamine diet and everything else being kind of on point, not bragging, but everything else kind of being on point, I feel like I'm already recovering. And it's the 13th, 5 days. That's good. That's great. Normally, got rewind to like my first, second, third, maybe fourth year of chronic illness. And it would take 2 weeks for me to recover from having a long conversation with someone. My neck muscles would take, yeah, like 3 weeks to recover. How weird. Chronic illness is so weird. And if you're there right now, I see you, and keep going and keep trying things. That's all you can do. God, that's sad, isn't it? Let's move straight on to the Q&A, chronic illness Q&A. Straight in. How long it took for you to get a diagnosis story, please and thank you. So my diagnosis story is peculiar, and I don't really like it, but I'll tell you. I got ill in 2019. I'd had a few issues for the couple years before, like in the build up, in terms of like getting strange pains for no apparent reason. Scans were blank, and then I just couldn't do certain things. And that was it. And then I had some strange, really hard little lymph nodes, but didn't feel ill. And the doctors said, don't worry about it. Everyone gets them. Didn't do any checks or anything. And then sort of a month after the first lymph node, I was really ill. And I thought, I didn't know. I hadn't, if you're not in the illness world, you're not in the illness world. And so I initially was like, do I have diabetes or something? Like, I don't know what's going on. I just feel like I have these massive lulls and I get lost and my head goes blurry and I can't see anything and I shouldn't be driving and I shouldn't be doing this. And I was like, is it just like, am I lacking sugar or something? So I just started eating loads of Mars bars. So I was just at work, sat at the office desk, eating Mars bars when I felt low, and they didn't pick me up. So they were great though. I do like a Mars bar. And so I went to the doctors, and they didn't do anything. So then I got worse and worse and worse and carried on pushing and pushing and pushing. So then about a month later, I woke up and was sick and blurry, staggering, called the 111. That's like calling the ambulance, but not as serious as an ambulance if you're not from the UK. And they said, we've got to send you an ambulance. So an ambulance arrived, blah, blah, blah. They took me, they said, oh, you must probably anemic or something like that. Then they ran some tests and were like, oh, better check for a tumor because your head, your symptoms, you can't talk much, waking up with severe blah, blah, blah. See, I'm being really detailed with the blah, blah, blahs. And so that happened. And then they were like, oh, yeah, you've got a virus. Don't know which virus, but just go and rest. So I do that for a bit. And then the first phone call I have with a GP, this is why I don't like it. They hadn't done any tests. They'd done this blood test and they'd said, right, you've got a virus. And then she just says, okay, well, if it's been sort of 6 months since your virus, then you must have chronic fatigue. And I was like, okay, so what can I do? She's like, oh, nothing. And then for the rest of the whole next year or two, I was just because she said that, it was like, oh, you've got ME/CFS. And I was like, I thought you're meant to like rule everything else out before you give me that. And like, obviously people really want that after years of like, getting normal things. But like, I'd had one blood test and she was just like, yeah, And I was like, but what about the pain here and here and here and all of that? Like, can you check that? And she's like, no, I think it's just chronic fatigue. And I was like, you're really blasé, aren't you? That's strange, because I've read many people actually struggle with the opposite. So I think it's very peculiar. I think it's an odd story. Anyway, fast forward to now, obviously I've seen lots of people. Turns out she was probably right. But I still, to this day, I'm like, I still haven't had this checked, this checked, this checked, this checked. So I still push for those. And thankfully, I found a nice GP recently who is sending me for tests that I haven't had. And she was kind of shocked that I haven't had them. Those I'm going to, just because you're going to want to know, I'm hoping to go to immunology. Never had like advanced blood tests done. Just because of my reaction to the histamine diet. So I've cut out gluten and dairy as well. So it's like, okay, maybe there's something in that. I've also had flags on celiac before. Oh my God, imagine if it's gluten-free. Oh my God, like, have you tried cutting out gluten? Those jokes. Anyway, yeah, whatever. Let's not even touch on that. And also going to gastroenterology because I can't poo. I haven't been able to poo. I haven't pooed in 7 years. No, I have. I have pooed. I would have popped. Like Violet Beauregard, the spoilt girl that blows up into a purple blueberry and they roll her out. You get it. I did not do that, by the way. I haven't popped yet. No, I've basically just had to have Laxido and Chinese herbal teas for the last so many years. And if I don't, then I literally don't go to the loo. I'm like, how have we not had that checked? And I did have it checked. No, I didn't have it checked, but I got sent by a GP who really didn't want to send me to one. And then when I got there after fighting, because he was refusing, and I was like, you literally have to, I'm literally begging you, like, you have to, I'll complain if you don't. I need to go here, here, or here. And he was like, okay, right, I'll send you to gastro. And it turns out he definitely wrote to this gastro and was like, yeah, can you just reassure him, because he's just like stupid and like doesn't realize blah blah blah. So all she did was like, yeah, everyone gets constipated, Oliver. And I was like, well, so you're not going to check? She was like, no, everyone. And I was like, yeah, but nothing happens, like nothing moves. Like, and then after that, bloody got 2 or 3 hernias because nothing's moving. Sounds like a claim there. Maybe there's a claim. Where there's a blame, there's a claim. I have since been to rheumatology, which I did pay for, and I have had official diagnoses of ME/CFS, fibromyalgia, POTS, HSD, dysautonomia, and I've had an ADHD diagnosis since then. So I've got quite a few official ones, but the first one just didn't feel very official to me. And I feel like because it wasn't official, it actually limited the lookings into of what I should have had at the time, because the GP was so blasé and chucking it on me. It was just like, oh, well, we don't really know what to do with you, and we're not going to send you anywhere else, so we're just going to give you that. And I was like, yeah, so the timing wasn't great. I think I should have had way more tests done and scans done and like normal things back before giving me that label. I'd literally only spoken to them on the phone. That was it. I'd spoken to her twice on the phone and had 1 blood test done. So that is wild. So yeah, never been a fan of that, and that's why I've been stuck chasing things ever since. I love a diagnosis, and I think it really helps people, and people should chase them, and they are important, but I think there's a time and a place. I think if it happens too soon, you may be blanketed and therefore not have the tests that perhaps you need to have before giving the right diagnosis, because you can't give a blanket diagnosis without ruling out like obvious things. Like, that's just mad to me. So yeah, that really actually fucked me up at the time. Because I was going and being like, yeah, but what about this? You haven't checked this. And they were like, no, you've got chronic fatigue. And I was like, no, but you've just said that. Like, you haven't done any tests. Like, I can't just, you're just writing me off and you've not done any tests at all. You've not referred me anywhere. Like, you're not even a specialist. You shouldn't even be diagnosing me with this. Like, you're just doing that. So I was really lost, and it was horrible. This is my actual goal for social media this year, is to try and be more authentically me. No, the truth is, I've read all of your comments on my Instagram, and I'm like, oh, this is so emotional and lovely and amazing that people are sharing such deep, dark, wonderful, funny, lovely, open things. And so I think I owe you. I don't feel like I owe you. You're not making me feel like I owe you, but I feel like you are worth me being genuine and just being as open and equal to that. And I want to give you that because it's good for me as well. It's good. I shouldn't be masking things and hiding things and, perfecting things and not posting things. I want to be real. Let's be real. Anyway, the question is, how did social media come to be for you? How do you find the courage to post? Social media never came to be for me. Social media was never not a thing for me. As soon as social media became a thing, this is the whole striving thing, right? This is potentially one of the reasons I got ill was social media, because I always saw it as because of what I want to do or wanted to do, still want to do, but I'm just going backwards. Acting, singing, performing, creative industry. Social media is one of the best tools for that. And so always the start is the hardest point for social media, I think. Because the courage to post comes from posting. It's a strange thing to say, isn't it? But yeah, social media it's like the starting point is the most courageous point, because that's when you've done nothing and you're worried about how the world is going to receive you and perceive you. But if you're nice. If you're nice, that's great. That's all you need to know. And if you believe in what you're doing or what you're talking about, much like me with chronic illness, I had a horrible time. So I believe in trying to help people not have a horrible time, because my time was so horrible. It's such a strong, passionate, massive message that I certainly now know helps so many people that far outweighs any doubts I have about posting something. Because I'm like, I know that what I'm posting has the ability to help someone and help someone like me. So I feel what you guys are potentially feeling now. I have either felt or am feeling right now. And so the thought of where I was year 1, 2, 3 of illness, lying in my bed, dark, depressed, hopeless, all the horrible things, the thought of someone going through that and me potentially being able to help in some way, whether that's from acknowledging, seeing, making laugh, taking away from, validating, all the things, that far outweighs any potential hate I might get from one person or 2 people or 9 people. That just outweighs it for me. And so I'm like, I don't really care. But again, that comes from a place of, obviously, when I first started posting, I did care because I didn't want to upset anyone, or I don't know. Yeah, there's loads of things you can worry about, isn't there? But actually, maybe having a chronic illness has made me worry less, because I like being useful and I like helping people and I like having fun. That's the most important thing. I have a lot of fun doing this. It fills me with, much like the zip wire, I get so much adrenaline making silly videos and doing improvised skits, and actually knowing that I help someone, whilst also it's like such a nice, such a sweet spot for me as a human being doing this social media, talking about illness, because I'm an absolute sucker for helping people, people pleaser, giving people advice. I'm great with advice. I'm rubbish with advice to myself, but I'm so good with advice to other people. And so I had this habit growing up where I just like spoke to anyone and everyone that was like not doing well. And I'd give them so much of my time and energy. And I realize now I'm not capable of doing that. I don't have the capacity to do that anymore. But what I can do is create content, post it, and that helps people. And that's such a lovely thing, because I don't have the capacity, as much as I wish I could. I wish I could reply to everyone asking for advice, or like, saying I'm in this situation. How do I get out of it? I honestly, I wish I could reply to everyone, but I can't, because if I reply to people, if I reply to everyone, then I am in a position where I give way too much. And so I've had to create this boundary where I'm like, no, no, I know what I'm posting is helping people. I mean, I feel bad saying it even, but it's so bad. But this is all about learning your capacity as a chronically ill person. And my capacity is I can still help people, but there's a limit to what I can do. But I think what I'm doing is great. You post random things, something does well, and you can keep doing it, or you can keep doing other things. I chose to go into chronic illness because I couldn't believe how many people were suffering, and I related to so many people and they related to me. And yeah, I think wow, this is a big compliment to myself, but I think I have something, yeah, a creative thing inside me that combines really nicely with talking a horrible truth and raising awareness of that. And so I'm using my my gift. I'm using my superpower, whatever you want to call it. I have a creative brain, and I'm like, how do I use this to help people? And it means I can be creative and help people and give myself counseling at the same time, whilst also helping other people and counseling them at the same. It's such a beautiful thing, and it's just a coincidence that it happened. Oh wow, look at that. The chronic illness relatable topic segment of the week is boundaries and where to spend your energy, negative vibes, people that don't get it, etc. That's actually really a lovely follow on from what I've just said. I cannot stress enough how important it is to have boundaries when living with a chronic illness, whether that's with yourself, mainly with other people, but also with yourself, because it's like, what's your capacity? What can you do now? What should you be doing? What can't you do? What are your capabilities? What is your baseline? Where's your limit? But also, how much of someone else can you take? How much negativity from someone can you take? If someone's always turning up to see you, great, lovely effort. But if all they're doing is bringing negative vibes or like invalidating your experience with chronic illness, do you want them around you that much? No, probably not. So that's a boundary. So like it improves your life so much. I cannot tell you how much my life has improved since I've been like, do you know what? You don't bring that much to my life. And actually, I don't have much to give you because you give me nothing. So I'm going to distance myself a little bit. And my life's improved. And with myself, I'm like, okay, what are my boundaries? What can I do? What can't I do? And I know how much I can post and what time this is just an example, how much I can post on here, when I need to stop being on social media every night, every morning. I've set time limits because I don't want to, as much as I want to help everyone, I can't help everyone, but I can do what I can do to help people. But like I can't reply to everyone individually and help them all individually, but I can post all of my videos which should help all of those people in a smaller take from me, because I would just go crazy and help everyone. I get a bit obsessed with helping people. People pleaser, chronic illness trait. So having the awareness to set boundaries and to learn what those boundaries are and to sort of check yourself before you wreck yourself is so important. And it makes living with a chronic illness in the long term so much easier. Like factually, you might not notice it after a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, but if you start getting those boundaries in place, it does have an impact, even if it's just your mental health, because then you have more capacity and ability to deal with living with a chronic illness, which is pretty hard as it is. The grieving, the missing out, all the things, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All of that, it is easier to deal with if you have boundaries with other things, because then you have more of your brain to give to that and to be like, Oles, mate, it's okay. Like, I know it sucks that you can't do this anymore, but let's just focus on what you can do right now. Like, you have more space to just give yourself a little hug. Negative vibes. Don't want any of them. I don't want someone coming in bringing me stress. I don't want negative vibes. I don't mind helping a friend. If a friend comes to me with a problem, I'd love to help them, of course, because I would want them to help me. So I'm not closing off helping people. I'm just closing off helping certain people. It's like, what do they bring to me? Nothing. So what am I going to give to them? Nothing. And that is such a great moment, and it feels very powerful and lovely. So I'd recommend that. Instead of story time this week, I've decided to talk about what I'm going to do going into my 30s, and that is just to try and have more fun, because I think that's important for chronic illness, and it's so relatable with all the things we go through. If you can find a moment of fun, it's so important. And I would actually, for most of my 20s, when ill, I would sort of avoid fun, not intentionally, but just like, oh, I can't do that because of this, and I can't do that because of this, and I was sort of predicting what would happen. And you should do that, but there's a line. I think that's this could be really irresponsible of me, but I think I'm just trying to go into my 30s with like the mindset of like, obviously I know what I categorically can't do. There are things I categorically can't do, and that's fine. That's great. I've sort of accepted that. But I'm like, okay, well, I can't do that. But what can I do to find a little bit of fun? Like, I would like some fun. So, like, I know, for example, I can lie down. So I can do the zip wire. I'm going to do that. Do I know that my body's going to react in a horrible way or a nice way? I don't know how my body's going to react, but I'm just going to do it because I know physically I can just lie down flat. I can do that. I'm in a position where I can do that. So I did it, and it felt amazing. And yeah, I hurt a bit for a few days, but the moment was great. And it was so significant in going into my 30s with this new mindset. How long it lasts is a whole other kettle of fish. Come back to me. I've done 5 days so far. So I'm doing really well. I've got another 10 years to go to my 40s, and then there'll be a new message. Um, but yeah, I just want to do that. I want to have more fun. I want to be chronically ill and still have more fun. So I've decided to do that. I just have to find things that I can do, know the things I can't do, but search for things I can do. New things. I would never have done that zip wire, ever, ever, ever. I would never have done that before being ill because I'm too scared of heights. But now I'm like, well, yes, I'm scared of heights, but I can't do a lot of things. So that is one thing I can do. So let's do that. And I just channeled calm all week, and I was pretty chill. And yeah, it was great. And so now I'm like, okay, what can I do? I don't know. I just think there's something powerful about having fun with a chronic illness. There's something powerful about taking yourself away from the shit you're going through for a split second, for a momentary moment of your life. Just take yourself away from the heaviness. This is kind of me talking to myself. I'm not preaching. I'm not telling you, because we all know what we can do. We all know what we can't do. There's things we definitely can't do and shouldn't be doing. So don't do that. But just if there's a sprinkle somewhere, if it's just playing a vinyl of your favorite music from 10 years ago, play that and just lie there and just take yourself. Yesterday, I sang Neil Diamond for the first time in many years, and it hurt my neck. But I started crying while singing Sweet Caroline because I was singing it, and I was literally picturing myself on stage singing it to people, and people going da da da, and just having this moment. And I was like, Sweet Caroline, and I was literally crying and bawling, but like it was magical because I was like, oh my god, what a surreal feeling that is, and a feeling I thought I'd never have. And yes, I wasn't actually in front of people, but my experience, I was like, oh, it felt like I was. It was the biggest, most sensational, amazing thing. And maybe that's just something I can do because I've got ADHD, so I can I just live things at this advanced like experience. It's just like huge. But if you can find that, I'm sure everyone's capable of finding this huge experience from something small, small, like bunny ears quotation things with my hands. If you're on Spotify, if you're on YouTube, then you know what I've just done several times. So sorry for that explanation. So yeah, finish with a mantra. Mantra of the week. Here we go. Get this. I'm going to read this. This is special. When it all feels too much and you feel like giving up, well, this isn't a poem, but this is, I wrote this. It's not a poem. I wrote this. I'm going to start again. Sorry. When it all feels too much and you feel like giving up, just take a breath. I know it's corny, but I've needed these moments this last week. I'd been feeling really heavy, physically or mentally, and I just needed to remind myself to stop, add perspective, find any moments of good that's happened to me, no matter how big or small, and remind myself of those. Come on. Let's do it together now. That's hilarious that I wrote that down. Come on, let's do it together now. Like, it feels heavy, just take a breath. And there's something. I don't want it to sound like I'm preaching. I'm not preaching like toxic positivity. I'm just offering things that I found helpful this past week. And so please take it with a pinch of salt. I'm not telling you this will cure anything. I just think when things are heavy, take a little breath, a real deep one, and just say, this is heavy. Is there any lightness? Is there anything there? Is there anything there? And there might not be. That's fine. But at least you've taken a breath and you've sort of disrupted this heaviness with some calm. There might be nothing, but there might be something. And that is, God, doesn't that just summarize chronic illness? How would I explain living with a chronic illness? There might be something, but there might be nothing. The end. I think that's pretty good. That's a good little summarization. And I think that is where I'm going to end this podcast with that. There might be something, but there might be nothing. So take a breath and find out. Whoa, that's so cool. Okay, I'm not a preacher. I'm not a vicar. I'm not a, one of those puts your hand on and heals you. I wish I was. I would come and put my hands on all of you. It feels and sounds wrong in many contexts. So forget I said that. Have a lovely week, and you're still chronically ill. So I'm sorry about that. And so am I, though. So I get it. You get it. I'm really glad to be back. It's so nice to have a little casual chat because, I don't chat to many people, especially about chronic illness. You actually are the only people I talk to in huge detail about chronic illness. And so this has been lovely. I really should have coffee. I'm not allowed to drink coffee and I don't like it. I don't really like hot drinks. There's a little fact for you as I leave. So if you ever see me out and you want to buy me a drink, don't buy me a hot one because I won't take it and I'll say go away. Right now I'm going to say go away to you. Love to you all. I promise I won't leave it as long next time because I've loved this and I hope you've loved it too. This is Sick with what a lovely finish. This is Sick with Sarcasm. It is quite hard to say. Try and say it. Go on, say it right now. Say it now. Say it now 5 times. Sick with sarcasm, sick with sarcasm, sick with sarcasm, sick with sarcasm, sick with sarcasm. My name's Oliver George. Sick with sarcasm. Goodbye. See you soon. Love to you. Unlucky. Oh, sorry, that's no. I won't cut this. Let's stay true and genuine. Goodbye.